Hi, hello and welcome back. In this Appium Python series, we have been seeing different installation options, both in Windows and Mac. But in this video, let's try to get answer for 5 different questions. So how to install Android Studio in Mac? And second question, can we install Xcode in Windows? If not, why? Third question, how to set up Android emulator in Mac? And fourth one, how to set the path variable. So how does it differ from Windows environment variable and what is the ways we can do it here in Mac? And fifth question, how to install the Appium desktop client and run a sample app. So let's try to get the answer for all of these 5 questions. Let's start with the number one question, Android Studio installation. So it's a pretty much the easiest way we have done it in the Windows as well. Same installation. I'll show you the simple steps. Open Google and say download Android Studio. The first link comes from the developer Android site. So this is where the Android Studio download option. So there isn't anything specific for Windows and Mac. So it's a general download. Once you click this button, you will be able to download it. And by default, the download will go into your test downloads folder. And there you will be able to see that there is an Android Dmg file. So to me personally, the DMG looks like a damage extension, damage file, but it is not really. It is a disk image. That is what it is meant for. So once you're able to double click on it, you will be able to install it. The installation will be pretty straightforward in Mac. And the moment you are able to drag from your application to the application, then you will be seeing it in application folder. So this is where you will be seeing the Android Studio. So once you are able to install it, this is where you will be seeing it. So double click on it. It will open up the Android Studio. And we know what Android Studio is used for. It is used for building up the Android application in two languages. One, Java. Number two will be Kotlin. There is a different language. Two languages predominantly meant for it. So I've already created a sample project. I've also covered the way you can create a sample app in my previous video, but this is just a sample. So we now know that we have installed the Android Studio. So part 1A, 1B will be to create the emulator. It is the same process. Go in here and the tools option, AVD manager, and AVD manager will give you this option. Basically, when you are not installed any of the emulator, you will be given the create virtual device option. That's what you have been seeing here. And the moment you click on this button, you will be given different options. Whether you go for TV, phone, Wear OS, tablet, we are interested in phone, and these are the different options available. So depending on the project requirement, you can choose whichever suits you, right? So I've chosen whichever the one I can. So this is what for example, I'm choosing it and go to next. And this will give you what are the different available options that you can think of, right? So these are the different APIs. APIs are in the different version. You know that. So it's the latest one is Pi, Oreo, and then Nugget. There are different API levels. So you can choose whichever uh, according to your project requirement. I've already clicked on this one. So if the moment you click next, you need to download it before you go there. So then click next. You will be given an options whether you want it a portrait mode or landscape mode. Other things are by default. You want to change the name, you can change the name. And then if you go with this one, finish clicking the finish button will give you this option. So you will be able to from here you will be able to invoke the emulator. So I'm just going to be seeing that the emulator is already opened. So it's pretty straightforward and quick in Mac compared to Windows, right? So we are good with our first question. I think hope I've answered your first question, right? Okay. Next one, can we install Xcode in Windows? If not, why? So Xcode is an equivalent ID for creating any Apple iPhone specific, any iOS specific application or their watch and a tablet, right? So we cannot install directly, at least to Windows. So we cannot directly install Xcode in Windows, but the reverse is possible. You can install both Android Studio as well as Xcode in Mac. So that's the only advantage you would have probably heard about, or you would have probably seen that most of the Appium mobile application testers will be using their Mac machine because it is compatible with both Android as well as iOS. That's the answer number two. And third one, how to set up the Android emulator. So we already covered it, how we can set it up. That's the same procedure. You need to go and then go to the tools manager, AVD manager, you'll be setting up, right? So we also covered that part. Now the important part is the how to set the path variable. So path variable, why, if you would have seen my video, that we have seen that how we can set it up the path variable in Windows. So the same way we are going to see that in here, but the only difference is that's a different operating system. Here is we will be seeing it in Unix manner, right? And where do you see the STK path? I'll just give you a brief about whenever you install any application and that application is having certain folders, certain executables, where do you generally see that? So in Mac, predominantly you may ask what is the equivalent of program files in Mac, right? So the equivalent of that will be your library file. So library file you will be finding it in two positions. I'll show you where and all you can find the library files. If you go to your Mac, if you go to the home directory, this will be your user directory. This is for home, right? And here, if you go in here library, there is a library folder. Because I've enabled all the hidden files, all the hidden files are now visible to me. But by default, you will not be seeing this. So how to enable the hidden files? Just follow the simple shortcut, command shift and then dot. This is all gone now. Same command, if you do it, command shift and dot, you'll be able to see all the hidden files. So hidden file will have the library. If you go to library, this is where my Android SDK files are sitting. And if inside that we are interested in three different things, if you would have noticed, if you would have watched my previous video, we are setting up the path variable for platform tools and tools, and there is a build tools. So these are the different path variable we need to set it up in the as an environment or path variable. So this is pretty much the same process, but it varies a little different, right? Okay, let me go back and then now open up your terminal. Terminal is equivalent of your command prompt in Windows and say pwt, nothing but my current present working directory. So this is my directory I'm working in, and in Unix the tilde symbol meant for the home directory. That means the directory which points here uses my name, right? And dot meant for any hidden files. So dot, wherever you see the hidden files, you would have probably noticed that the Android folder is sitting inside the hidden library file. So you need to access it, you need to go with the dot operator. Everything pretty much the same concept there, right? So the easiest way you can set the path variable is first go and look at what is there in the path variable. I've already set them by path variable, and the easiest way you can go and see that is go to Finder, go to the home directory, and under library, sorry, not library, the bash profile. So if you wanted to set any variable permanently into your machine, go, you need to set it up in your bash profile. So bash profile is nothing but the shell command used in any of the Unix based system, Linux based system, right? So the easiest way, you can right click it, open with, and text editor. This will give you the same window. So these are the available path variable already set it up. I've set it up one for Java. I've set it up one for path. We need to include it in here. And there is, I've set it one for Android home, right? And these are the files I'm interested in setting up as a path variable for Android Studio. If you don't set it up, you will not be able to interact, you will not be able to communicate anything to your either emulator or the physical device, because we need ADB. If you remember it, ADB is a mechanism which will bridge your actual in client, which is nothing but your Android phone or emulator, to your actual the actual exe file, right? The Android Studio file. If you don't set it up, you will be thrown an error message. So this is how you will be setting it up, right? So this is pretty simple, straightforward command. We have already seen that what is that tilde symbol here. It is nothing but your home directory. Under library, I have Android and SDK. This is my Android home directory. And this is export is a keyword used in Unix system to tell that this is the path variable we are setting it up, right? Equally, we need to set up three different path variable. One for platform tool, another for build tools, another for tools. So you need to copy paste the same thing in your path variable and save it, right? I'll provide all of this path variable in my description. You can use the same thing. Okay, the moment you've done it, click it. So the other way you can open up is nothing but go to this home directory again, same, say that open -e and then bash profile. This will again open up the same window. This is the other way. Or there are different ways you can do it. One, you can do with vi command or with the vim as well. So vim is nothing but the extended version of vi. You can also open up in the text editor and do it. So the different ways of doing it, but I'm telling you the simplest way. Okay. So we are now sure that we have set it up the environment way. Let me just go and open up the file again and then remove this particular line and then see whether we are able to, not this line, the next one, because platform tools is where the adb is sitting, exe file is sitting. If I remove this and save it, and I'm going to say that close this one and open the terminal again, and this time you say adb devices. It says adb can't be found because I've removed the platform tools path variable. Just go and set it up again. Open -e bash profile. I'm going to say that under my path and then copy paste the same thing. Now save it, close this one, close this terminal and then open it again because this has to load your. Now if we say adb devices, this is now giving me the device name. So the device name is nothing but the emulator 5554 and the device. The device is nothing but this one. If you close this simulator, you will not be able to see this at all. Okay, so now we know that how we are able to interact with our actual emulator or real device. No, sorry, the emulator one. Okay. Okay, so we are now able to set up the path variable for Android Studio in our Mac machine. Hope that is clear. And what's next? So we know that the SDK path either will be your user specific library or a system specific library. So where you can see the system specific library, if you go to find this again, if you go to your main machine and you will see that these are the system level things. So there is one by default system library where whatever the program that are common to all the users, you will be able to see it here, right? But the one which are specific to the user, you will be seeing it on the users, and this is my user, and go to library. This is where the Android is fitting. So this is how you can identify certain exe files or the path variables, and then you can set it in the path variable of your Mac machine. Okay, so that's clear. And we also seen how we can see how we can see the hidden files as well as how we can make the files again in hidden mode, right? So you can simply follow that command shift and then dot, right? This will give you that option. So the next question is that how install Appium desktop client and run a sample app. So the same installation process. If you go Google and then say Appium download. So the first link coming from Appium IO download, that's the official site. And here you're seeing the Appium different library bindings, but we are interested in downloading the desktop client. And if you click here, and you will be seeing different options. So the option that we are looking at is the first one or the second one. Second one is preferable because it's a disk image file. If you click on this one, it's pretty simple, the same installation process. You have to double click and then you have to move it from your application to your your installation path to your application folder. So once you're done, you will be able to see that in your Mac machine into the application. So I'm going to invoke an application. So let me open the server, the Appium server. It's now opened and start. By default, you know that it starts from 47. It starts in 4723. That's the port it is listening. And if you start that one, the server is now started. And I have also running my emulator. And if you just go inspect it, this is a way you can invoke any application. So I've already briefed what are the different capabilities, desired capabilities are there in my previous video. And if you go and refer it, you will be able to see that the three important or four important desired capabilities are platform name, device name, application, and Android automation name. Automation name is optional. With this first three, you will be able to invoke any application to your emulator or real device. I've already done it. If you click start session, this is going to launch an application, whatever application I specified in my sample folder. Yes. So this is just a sample application. The application was not able to successfully install because it throws that this app is not an admin. So by default, when the developer designed certain application, they will be able to see whether it is in admin mode or different mode. So, but that's not our intention now here, but it isn't. Our objective is to see whether we are able to connect from Appium server to our real device or physical, I mean the emulator. So we have pretty much covered all of our topics today. Let me confirm if I miss anything. Yeah, so we have covered it, and we are setting up the Mac machine for to run both iOS as well as Android. In the next video, we will be seeing how we can really build an iOS application, because the procedure is a little different when running Android device to iOS device. You need to actually build the application, and as an outcome of that application, you will be able to see that IPA file or your application itself. So by providing that desktop desired capability, then you will be able to invoke this application either to your real iOS device or to your simulator. So we'll see that in the next video. Uh, yeah, so that's pretty much it. We'll see in the next video. Thank you.